Welcome, crypto fam, to No One Daily Bitcoin Pod. Bitcoin pumping back in the green, looking to retake the coveted 100K. Also, breaking news, $5 trillion Fidelity just urged every public company to buy Bitcoin. Also, major news, $48 billion fintech giant Revolt to integrate the Bitcoin Lightning Network. The kicker, they have over 50 million users. This is absolutely massive. We'll also be discussing BlackRock buys $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin as the price holds steady. I'll be breaking down the latest report from Arkham Intelligence, as well as Metaplanet reaches 5,555 Bitcoin milestone with their latest 555 BTC buy. We'll also be discussing Matt Hougan reveals massive base case Bitcoin price scenario target by the end of the year. I'll be breaking it down for you. Also, Michael Saylor pressures Microsoft to join the Bitcoin revolution with a $75 billion bet. That's right. And the big news of the day, Strive merges with asset entities to raise $1 billion to buy Bitcoin. That's right. Vivek Ramaswamy Strive Asset Management is forming the first publicly traded asset management Bitcoin treasury company with the plan to raise $1 billion in Bitcoin just to start. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. We're the #1 daily Bitcoin pod, then ring the bell, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod number 1985. I'm your boy, JV. It's May 7, 2025. Happy hump day, Trump day, thump day, let's get it day. Bitcoin in the green, looking to recapture 100 G's. Let's kick it off with our market watch. As we do each and every day, you should be able to see Coin 360 on your screen. It shows Bitcoin up 1.5% on the day, maintaining above 96,400 at the time of the live stream. Ether, even in the green today, back above 1800, but barely. As XRP, BNB, and Cardano all correcting and in the red. And checking out the infamous CoinMarketCap.com. We're just shy of 3 trillion total, currently 2.97 trillion. Bitcoin market cap back above 1.9 trillion. Volume is back on the rise, up 55% on the day at 105 billion. Bitcoin dominance all the way up to 64.4%, the highest we have been in years. Ether dominance is all the way down to 7.3%. My question, how high would a Bitcoin dom likely climb for the cycle? Holla at your boy. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got EOS leading the pack of 15%, followed by Stacks. Come on, Stack up 12%, followed by the infamous Zcash. Let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull, and holla at your motherfucking boy. And checking out the coin bubbles. As you can see, we're looking bubbly. Champagne for the broskies, please, and for the baddies. But I would say maybe 35, 65 green over red today. And for the week, I dare say 80-20 red over green. And for the month, shit, it's a party. 95% of the market pumping in the green, including pudgy little penguins up 153%, Sui up 60%, Virtual up 108, massive gainers across the board. And checking out the crypto geek index. Today we're 67. Greed, yesterday at 59. Last week, the infamous 56. 5 plus 6 is an 11. Take that, evildoers. And last month at 23 in extreme fear. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar. We have 154,328 blocks into the halving of 2028. We're currently on block number 895,672. And you can currently exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 1,034 sats. So you know what to do. Pick up the sats, put down the gas, pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Cop yourself a CNA exclusive, just like this bad boy I'm rocking here today. Get yourself straight. Let's get it. But anyways, fam, let's transition into our next story, the latest TA, aka astrology for the baddies and the Nippinator. Headline reads, Bitcoin pushes for 98,000 as 2025 Fed rate cut. Odds flip pessimistic. Oh no. Is the glass half full or half empty? But anyways, here's a 1 hour chart, and I'll share with you the live charts when we're done with this TA. But TradingView showed an abrupt turnaround for the Bitcoin after it dipped under 94,000, setting a new May low. And the previous day's Wall Street trading session set the range for a return to the strength, even as stocks finished lower. News of tension boiling over between India and Pakistan, along with potential progress on the U.S.-China trade deal, kept the markets lively. Quoting the Kabisi letter, this reaction to the U.S.-China trade talks being scheduled tells you all you need to know. A lot is already priced in. Traders have no time to relax with the Fed interest rate decision due May 7th. That's actually today. Will they cut the rates? Yay or nay? Holla, let me know. And while the market expectations for the FOMC meeting were practically unanimous, Fed Chair Jay Powell's subsequent statement and news conference were of more interest. Quoting Dan Crypto Trades, the market will be eager to watch any of the dovish or hawkish changes to their tone, which has been pretty mixed here recently. And examining the Bitcoin order book activity, Keith Allen, co-founder of Material Indicators, said that the nearby liquidity has been cleared out before the event. Quoting them here, pleasantly surprised Bitcoin held above the U. You won't be surprised if the price round trips the range before the end of the week. Now, continuing, another analyst, Dark Faust, a contributor to on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant, noted declining odds of the rate cuts coming sooner in 2025. At around the time of this article being published, the June FOMC meeting had combined rate cut odds of around 30%, noticeably lower than in the recent weeks. Quoting him here, expectations are clearly pessimistic for now. If the Fed does decide to cut the rates in this context, it'll trigger the volatility and might spark fear amongst investors, depending upon how many BPS. And in some major news, before I pull up some of the live charts, a $5 trillion asset management giant, Fidelity, just urged every public company to buy Bitcoin. Wild times, I'd say. And it doesn't stop there. Check this out. $48 billion fintech giant Revolt to integrate the Bitcoin Lightning Network for payments. They have over 50 million users worldwide. Absolutely massive. So that's pretty exciting. And with that being shared, let's do some live chart action, Jackson, for the baddies and the broskies and the nippinators. That's what you asked for. That's what you're going to get. So as you can see here, via TradingView, via Coinbase, this is the 1 hour chart. You can see we had a falling wedge, but then we started pumping. Big green candles forming on the hourly, and then we started correcting some, trading a little sideways. We do have a couple of targets in play. Bull scenario, 98,745, a couple of maybe 2,500 above the current price action. And then we have a bear scenario sitting all the way down at 88,888. Let's get it. And zooming out a little bit further, we take a look at a 4 hour, and a 4 hour says pretty bullish overall, but we did get some corrective candles here this morning. Prior to that, I mean, yesterday was pretty lit. I think we crossed close to 98 in that ballpark. Falling wedge formation, but we started pumping after the falling wedge, so rising wedgie in play. Bull target scenario sitting at 98.8. Send it. Bear scenario sitting at 88.8. Lots of eights forming here today, like George Foreman. And checking out the 1 day, also a falling wedge, and we started pumping since then, slowly but gradually. I don't know, suddenly, here you go, just shy of 112, bull scenario on the daily chart. And yeah, yesterday was a nice green candle close, as you can see. Thus far this morning, or I should say today in general, it's forming red, but it's itty bitty overall, pretty sideways. Bear scenario in the pink, just shy of 69. Every broski's favorite number, minus 420, just saying. And checking out the 1 week. The 1 week chart, 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive weekly candle closes, and we're in the 5th week. Still bullish already, and we're only halfway through the week. Happy hump day. Bull scenario, cup and handle target in play, 124, send it, let's get it. Zooming out from the weekly, we take a look at the monthly. And the monthly says it's going up forever, JV. And that's right. Last month was very bullish for the month of April, and already for the month of May, forming a nice green candle. So let's get it. You already know. Let's mosey on to our next story. Headline here regarding BlackRock. They bought $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin as the price holds steady. Here's the latest report from Arcam. They reveal the asset management titan BlackRock purchased billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin as Bitcoin inches closer and closer to the promised land. 100 G's, baby. In a new thread on X, Arcam says that BlackRock, which has 11 trillion in assets under management, bought $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin just last week. That's more than the daily issuance, which is only 450 Bitcoin per day. So supply shock incoming. In his annual letter to the investors, the CEO, Lawrence Fink, suggests Bitcoin may one day become the world's reserve currency. It will. Replacing the U.S. dollar. Let's go. Quoting Mr. Finkmeister, the U.S. has benefited from the dollar serving as the world's reserve currency for decades, but that's not guaranteed to last forever. Only one thing lasts forever. Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang. The national debt has grown at 3 times the pace of the GDP since Times Square's debt clock started ticking back in 1989. This year, interest payments will surpass $952 billion, exceeding the defense spending. That's almost freaking trillion. That's nuts. By 2030, mandatory government spending and debt service will consume all federal revenue, creating a permanent deficit. Oh boy. If the U.S. doesn't get its debt under control, its deficits keep ballooning. America risks losing that position to digital assets like the pretty little bitty going up forever Laura. Meanwhile, Arcam notes that the publicly traded Bitcoin mining firm Riot Platforms is selling hundreds of their biddy. Quoting them here, Riot just reported they sold 475 Bitcoin in April for $38.8 million. During April, they moved exactly 475 Bitcoin to NYDIG. And Monday, they just moved another almost 7 million Bitcoin. Are they selling even more this month? Well, guess who's stacking them up? BlackRock. They're probably like, sure, sell all your Bitcoin. Arcam data shows the company's portfolio now includes 6,611 Bitcoin, worth $642 million at the current prices. So there you have it, yo. As BlackRock continues their bitty buying spree, they ain't slowing down. They surpassed, I think that was last week or the week before, 600,000 Bitcoin. The kicker, it only took them a little over a year. So they're accumulating a lot faster than Michael Saylor's company. Keep in mind, MicroStrategy was the first publicly traded company. Put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. This was back in 2020. So it took Saylor 5 years to accumulate 555,000 Bitcoin. BlackRock just surpassed that in 1 year. So BlackRock is stacking Biddy 5 times faster than MicroStrategy / Mikey Saylor. Combined, they now have close to 1.2 million Bitcoin, 2 companies, 2 individuals responsible. Lawrence Fink, Mikey Saylor, Bitcoin juggernauts. Just saying. But anyways, next story of the day, family. Let's prepare. Metaplanet reaching 5,555 at a biddy. 5555. Take that, evildoers. That's right. Next headline of the day. Headline here reads, Metaplanet reaches 5,555 Bitcoin with its latest 555 Bitcoin buy. That's just so many fives. Japan's Metaplanet purchased 555 biddies as part of the aggressive accumulation strategy. And they're more than halfway towards their goal for the year, which is 10,000 Bitcoin before the end of 2025. Currently valued at 536 million. On May 7th, the Tokyo-listed firm disclosed it spent $53 million acquiring 555 Bitcoin at an average price of $96,100. The company now holds 5,555 Bitcoin purchased for $481 million at an average price of $86,000 per biddy. The company also announced the issuance of another $25 million in zero coupon ordinary bonds to fund the ongoing biddy buys. Since early 2024, the firm raised over 35 billion yen, which is roughly 250 million USD, through zero coupon bonds and stock acquisition rights via the partner Evo Fund. The company's proprietary key performance indicator, the Bitcoin yield, has surged in recent quarters, reaching 309%. Just in Q4 of last year, and 95% in Q1 of this year, and 21% for the current quarter. Quoting their CEO in Japanese, the number 5 is pronounced go. I dig it. So today we're shouting go, 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 shawty. It's your birthday. We're going to party like it's your birthday. And we don't give up. It's your birthday. Look at that. It's like a young Superman. That's the bitty Superman. That's how Clark Kent should look like. Just saying. But anyways, on May 1st, Metaplanet announced plans to launch a wholly owned U.S. subsidiary, the Metaplanet Treasury, based in Florida. The entity plans to raise up to $250 million to further its Bitcoin strategy and tap U.S. capital markets. Metaplanet is Asia's largest public corporate hodler of the biddy, ranking 11th, my favorite number in the world, globally, according to the Bitcoin treasuries. And at the beginning of April, the firm announced the acquisition of 696 at a biddy for 10.2 billion yen, 67 million USD. the fiat monopoly dollars. And later the same month, the firm acquired 330 Bitcoin for $28 million at an average price of $85,000 per bitty, bringing the total holdings to 4,855. Then as of April 24th, 4 days after the infamous 420, the firm disclosed it bought an additional 145 of the bitty for $13 million, boosting its total holdings to 5,000 Bitcoin. And I know their personal goal, as per their CEO, is to have a collective of 10,000 Bitcoin before the end of this year, and literally 21,000 Bitcoin by the end of the following year of 2026. Let me know if you feel they'll likely achieve their aggressive Bitcoin accumulation strategy. They're virtually the Japanese version of Strategy B. Next story of the day, fam. Let's continue where we left off. I got a bull scenario base case. As per another analyst, Matt Hougan reveals massive base case price target for the bitty by the end of the year, despite the potential political threats. That's right. The chief investment officer of the crypto asset management giant Bitwise has a big Bitcoin price target for the end of 2025 as political risks emerge. And the new note to the investors, the Bitwise CIO, says the Bitcoin may increase more than 112%. My question for Matt, why so bearish, brother, of the current value before 2026 due to the several factors, including clearer crypto regulations, greater adoption, traditional finance, quoting him here. I am extraordinarily optimistic about the outlook for crypto this year. The setup, rising institutional participation, an improved regulatory environment, and massive advances in the blockchain tech is extremely strong. My base case is that most of the crypto assets will trade to new all-time highs this motherfucking year, with Bitcoin rising above 200,000 per bitty. However, he also warns the risk to the industry is now coming from politicians in Washington, including the possibility that Congress may not approve the stablecoin bill known as the Genius Act. Key Dems are suddenly raising concerns about the proposed stablecoin legislation, reports Politico, quoting Hogan here. People often ask me, what could derail the crypto? My answer is simple. People. More specifically, those dirty little politicians. I ultimately think the stablecoin bill will pass. Stablecoins are too obviously beneficial to America, the dollar, merchants, entrepreneurs, and others. For petty political jockeying to derail the progress, at least I hope so. The next few days and weeks will be fraught. If legislation fizzles, this could be a challenging summer for crypto. But if Washington can get their act together, I think the bull market will be quite unstoppable. In either event, keep your eye on Washington. And for what it's worth, let me know if you agree or disagree. I don't know why the prediction is so bearish. Personally, I think it's a lock at 200,000, easy peasy. My bear scenario, I'll reiterate it for the broskies, 222,000. Bear scenario 2025 this year, broskies. And base case 420. Based, yeah, but so what? Deal with it. Bull scenario, we take the Hawk 211 and we put the decimal point right in the middle. 1.1 milli. Bull scenario in play. And there you have it. We're going to discuss a $75 billion bet from Michael Saylor, and then a $1 billion buy, massive news, Vivek Ramaswamy, our feature story, and then we'll do some live Q&A, and we'll probably flip it into a pump watch. We're now up 2,000 on the day. Not too shabby, pretty little bitty. But yeah, headline reads, Saylor pressures Microsoft to join the Bitcoin revolution with a $75 billion bet. That's right. At a Bitcoin for Corporations 2025 MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, Executive Chair Mikey Saylor turned his keynote into a direct challenge for one of the technology sector's most cash-rich giants. Speaking to an audience of chief financial officers and Treasury executives, he argued Microsoft should shift tens of billions of dollars from share buybacks to short-dated treasuries into Bitcoin, calling the crypto the universal, perpetual, profitable merger partner. Damn, that's a mouthful. That outclasses every other treasury asset in the AI age. Damn straight. Saylor framed the comparison starkly, quoting him here. Microsoft is up 18% a year for the past 5 years. Bitcoin is up 62%, he said, adding that the S&P 500's compound growth of roughly 14% defines a hurdle rate by which the corporate capital allocation is judged. Normalize everything against the cost of the capital and you discover Microsoft's real outperformance. 4%. Laughable, Mr. Gates. Laughable. Bitcoin is 48%. Bonds are negative. Why would you hold the thing that's destroying the capital when the apex asset is compounding almost 50% above the cost of the money? He then zeroed in on Microsoft's current balance sheet mix, quoting him again. If Microsoft buys bonds, you're destroying 99.7% of your capital over 10 years, he declared. Buying your own stock is only marginally less catastrophic. You're vaporizing 97%. Buying Bitcoin would be 10 times better than buying Microsoft. I'm going to rephrase that. Buying Bitcoin would be 100 times better than buying Microsoft. Mark my words. Saylor's argument rests on his conviction that Bitcoin inaugurates a third monetary epoch, quoting him again. Gold was 19th century money. Sovereign debt was 20th century money. Bitcoin is 21st century money. That's right. The first liquid, fungible capital asset with no counterparty risk. He dates the institutional year zero for Bitcoin to 2024, the moment the SEC blessed the spot ETFs and FASB signaled fair value accounting. By that chronology, 2025 is year one, and the window for the first mover advantage is already narrowing. Seize the moment. Take advantage of it, broskies. To quantify the upside, Saylor revealed his team ran Microsoft through the open source Bitcoin 24 Treasury modeling tool. 4 scenarios were stress tested, sweeping excess cash into the Biddy, substituting dividends for the coin purchases, replacing buybacks with accumulation, and adding a thin layer of leverage. Depending upon the mix, it adds anywhere from $155 to $584 a share, $1 to $5 trillion in enterprise value, while taking less risk. I am asking you to stop surrendering the capital you just spent 5 years winning. And we all know the infamous melting ice cube scenario, right? The emotionally charged moments of the keynote came when Saylor linked Treasury policy to the operational strain. When you divest yourself of $200 billion, you amplify every risk factor in your own prospectus. He warned. You put massive pressure on your employees, then your customers. You lock them into 3-year contracts, force them to buy everything when they only want some things. Then your competitors complain and the regulators sue you. All of it because you're chasing quarterly volatility you could hedge instantly by holding a non-correlated hard asset, aka pretty little bitty going up forever lower. He pressed the point with a thought experiment aimed squarely at Microsoft's board, and this was directly aimed towards the board of directors. If you could buy a $100 billion company growing 60% a year at 1 times revenue, would you do it? What if you can do it every year? Forever, Laura. That's Bitcoin. The irony is that the least risky acquisition imaginable is perceived as risky by consensus finance, hence never listen to the lizard folk. And you can see him here giving a presentation. Saylor just called Microsoft to buy $75 billion worth of Bitcoin and make $4 trillion. So my question to you, do you think Microsoft board of directors will eventually adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset, put the Biddy on the balance sheet, following the footsteps of Strategy B and these other Bitcoin acquisition companies? And also remember earlier in the year, there was a lot of speculation that Microsoft was going to make the big announcement. Saylor got to pitch Bitcoin to the board of directors, but they made a stupid decision and ultimately said no. So will they eventually come around? What's your thoughts? I'll read your comments out loud, and welcome everyone just joining us. All right, now for our feature story of the day. Strive merges with asset entities raising $1 billion to buy Bitcoin. That's right. This is Vivek Ramaswamy's company, which is launching. And this is a big deal. As you can see in some headlines here, Vivek Ramaswamy Strive Asset Management to form the first publicly traded asset management Bitcoin Treasury company. They plan to raise $1 billion just to start to buy Bitcoin. So game on. Mad bullishness. And Max Kaiser gives Vivek the HODL Employee of the Month. So congratulations, Vivek Ramaswamy. Ohio Governor candidate Vivek's $2 billion Strive Capital to go public as a Bitcoin Treasury company. They're going to buy $1 billion of their $2 billion just to start. And this is major news. So let's break this baby down, shall we? Bitty baddies and bitty broskies alike. Asset Entities, Inc., a digital marketing and content delivery company, has announced a merger agreement with Strive Asset Management. The merged entity will operate under the Strive brand and remain listed on the NASDAQ. That's right. With this, the firm will become a public Bitcoin treasury company using corporate strategies to build Bitcoin reserves while it delivers strong returns to the shareholders. The company also said in a press release that it plans to offer equity in exchange for Bitcoin through a structure that is intended to be tax-free under Section 351 of the U.S. Tax Code. This means investors will be able to swap their biddies for the company's stock without being taxed. That's pretty lit. Though this depends on individual tax circumstances, this offer will be open to certain accredited investors prior to the transaction closing. Strive also plans to merge with overcapitalized companies to acquire cash at a discount and to use its expertise to fix income and derivatives to unlock additional capital for more Bitcoin purchases. The company is looking to raise up to $1 billion after the transaction closes through the equity and debt offerings to buy more Bitcoin when such purchases benefit the shareholders. Matt Cole will lead the company as the SEC or CEO and chairman. Cole previously managed $70 billion in fixed income investments. He'll be joined by Ben Pham as the CFO, Arshia Sharkani as chief marketing officer, Logan Burney as chief legal officer, and Sarkani, CEO of Asset Entities, said, "We are thrilled to be joining forces with Strive Asset Management to help pioneer the future of the corporate Bitcoin treasury strategies." Strive Asset Management has also filed with the US SEC to launch a new investment fund, the Strive Bitcoin Bond ETF. Filed on December 26, will invest in convertible bonds issued by companies like MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, which have used bond proceeds to buy more Bitcoin. These bonds can be turned into company shares and are backed by Bitcoin holdings. The ETF will also include exposure through the swaps and options. Strive Asset Management was co-founded by Vivek, a former presidential candidate, as we all know, who recently left the company in 2023. Strive Enterprises has remained private, which will own 94.2% of the public company before financing is completed. And there you have it. Now, there's also the new company from, Jack Mallers being the CEO called 21, backed by the likes of Howard Lutnick's company, Cantor Fitzgerald, multi-billion-dollar company, as well as Tether, USDT. They have the stablecoin, multi-billion-dollar entity. So there's a lot of new Bitcoin acquisition companies being birthed in real time because they're just watching Strategy B and Michael Saylor collect the biddies and achieve the glory, and they want in. And this is the game theory which has been prophesized. So you already know.